All right, guys, Jacob here. Miami Dolphins Syndicate, another review on the phone. This time I'm actually at home. Didn't feel like getting the setup put together to make a video. I'm sick, literally sick, metaphorically, as the Dolphins dropped to 2-5 on the season, continuing to lose games in different ways. This time the offense looked fantastic. There was a little bit of rust, and obviously that safety ended up being huge earlier on in the game, earlier on in the second half, as that really is the difference. I mean, the Cardinals there in the fourth quarter, they were just rolling. Like the offense, Kyler Murray couldn't get a hand on him. Pass rush, again, abysmal from the Dolphins. And that defensive line is ultimately going to be what kills this team for the rest of the season. But I think they likely would have gone on and scored a touchdown if they had to score a touchdown. Everything they wanted in the fourth quarter. Did pretty well against James Conner early on in the game, but tired defensive line, a beat-up defensive line. Backups are already in there. And the backups of the backups coming in when needed didn't get the job done. Just an excellent coaching performance by the Arizona Cardinals, top to bottom, offense, defense, head coach, quarterback performance. Everything the Cardinals needed to do right, they did. They got Kyler Murray on the move when necessary. They gave him a good pocket also a lot more often than they have this year. Being able to connect with Marvin Harrison. Hats off to the Arizona Cardinals. Like, they did exactly what they needed to do. And it sucks because had this season so far gone how we somewhat expected it to, this could be a game we could have afforded to lose. Because you expected to win earlier this year, at the very least against Tennessee, with how the Colts are playing, a win against them last week, if you had two in the lineup. That's two additional wins. Instead of looking at 2-5, you're looking at 4-3, and it's a very, I don't know, maybe that math's right, maybe it's not. You're looking at a very different complexion of the season if you just turn those two losses into wins. So you go into this game here, and Arizona played very well, coached very well, they executed very well. Their skill position players did what they needed to do. Trey McBride was open all day. Marvin Harrison Jr., give him a little bit of space, he might as well be wide open. Finding Michael Wilson, booty butt naked, wide open in the end zone. Like, everything they needed to go right went right for Arizona. And look, if this happened when we were 500, or we were a game or two above 500, all right, you know what? It's a learning experience. You take that, you look at the tape of what Arizona did really well, and then you try to take that away for future games. Especially when you're going against a unicorn like Kyler Murray is, where you have nobody else really in the league that plays exactly like him. Lamar Jackson, obviously really elusive. Jaden Daniels, saw a little bit of it last week at Anthony Richardson, but just his size or lack thereof, combined with his speed, he's so hard to get a hand on. We saw there on that third down where you stop him, potentially you're able to get the ball back and see what happens with the offense. Even though the offense did start to slow down a little bit in that fourth quarter, if you're able to get him down, you have a chance. But Kyler Murray's Kyler Murray. He's small, he's quick, his feet move really fast, and he gets through I think it was Jordan Brooks or whoever it was. Middle linebacker crew was not good today. The zone coverage was not good today. Man, I'm fine with. Jalen Ramsey's playing a lot more on the line of scrimmage than I expected him to. That is certainly a surprise to me. He was decent at it. He was getting in the backfield. He's getting in the backfield better than any of our edge rushers were. But having him not locked up man-to-man Marvin Harrison all game, especially in the second half where he starts to cook, that's certainly a point of question. But 2-5 now, going to Buffalo next week, you are directly staring 2-6 in the face. That's just how it is. 2-6 is what this Dolphins team is going to be around this time next week. I think there is zero chance that we beat the Buffalo Bills up in Buffalo. And then in order to just make the playoffs, you likely have to go undefeated the rest of the season. We have seen this Dolphins team miss the playoffs with 7 losses. Just to make the playoffs, you'll likely have to go undefeated against the Texans, against the Browns now with Jameis Winston, who look a whole lot better than they did with Deshaun Watson. That was a certified check in the win column before. Nah, not anymore. 49ers, Texans, Browns, Patriots look a lot better than the first time we played them. Jets, although they suck, they can still figure it out on any given day with all the talent they have on that team. It's going to be rough the rest of the season. Effectively, I think the season's over in terms of Super Bowl aspirations. Maybe by some miracle we squeak into the playoffs. Maybe. But any offense coming against us, our defense line is Swiss cheese. We cannot get to the quarterback. If you commit to the run, we eventually will crumble. And part of that is something that you can't really control. You can't control Jalen Phillips getting hurt. Bradley Chubb will likely eventually come back, but still not having him. Having Shaq Barrett retire before the season started, like, you are without the three you expected as your top edge rushers. You're without all of them. Chop Robinson, we have not seen anywhere near the development that we've expected from him, hoped from him. Obviously, he was a developmental in somebody who, a project guy more than a plug and play guy. Hasn't got it done. Has not had any impact off the edge. And just overall, the defensive line is weak. And you're without Zach Sealer this week. You're clearly missing guys like Andrew Van Ginkel that walked away, clearly missing Christian Wilkins. You're clearly missing those injured guys, injured edge rushers. I have no complaints about the offense because they just put up, what feels like as many points as we put up all season, if not, just off the top of my head, might have been the most points we put up all season. Tua looked fine. I have zero complaints about Tua. I don't really even have complaints too much about Mike McDaniel. Finally, he got a challenge call correctly. Offense looked good. The running game was explosive, and that was something that was a real concern coming into the season as to how that would look. Raheem Mostert is clearly cooked. He's got nothing left to offer. And Devon Achane is one big hit away from missing some games, but we're relying on him right now. Right now, he is a workhorse that I expect him to never be with this Dolphins team, but he can do that if he's in your fantasy lineup. Awesome, you'll love it. He's having more meaningful touches with Tua back in the lineup. There were things to like, but when you're looking at 2-5 right now, going to Buffalo next week, there are no moral victories. When you are looking at 2-6 in a week's time with a pretty difficult rest of your season schedule, there are no moral victories. We just lost another football game, a new way to lose a football game compared to what we've seen this year. The offense did just about everything fine. No complaints to his play. No complaints about Waddle. Not Waddle, Tyreek. Some complaints about Waddle. The drops continuing to take place with Waddle. It's really become a thing. Javon Holland goes down. Another piece of that defense goes down with injury. It's brutal. 2-5 sucks. This team, it's going to win some games. I doubt it makes the playoffs, but if it does, cool. This is not anywhere near a Super Bowl roster. Trade deadline is going to be here before you know it. This is not a team that is going to be able to afford to buy at the deadline. And the edge rushers that are allegedly on the market, we're not going to be giving up the amount of capital to go and get them. This sucks. I'm miserable. Another Dolphins loss. Again, effective season over. Not make the playoffs. Not make the Super Bowl. It just is what it is. Let me know your thoughts below about the game. What do you think about offense? What do you think about Tua being back? What do you think of the defense? How poor that was? Injuries continue to stack up. Let me know down below. I'm surprised I made it this far. There you go. Sick, both literally, figuratively. I'll catch y'all later. Probably no live stream tomorrow because I am sick unless Donovan wants to solo that. But otherwise, we'll see y'all next time. Go Dolphins.